What if I told you that one of the most valuable pieces of land on Earth is a giant frozen rock with fewer people than a small town? That this remote, icy wasteland is at the center of a global power struggle between some of the world's biggest economies, and that the United States once seriously considered buying it? Welcome to Greenland, one of the world's strangest economies, where fishing is king, half the workforce is technically on government payroll, and superpowers are quietly battling for influence. Why is this tiny economy so important? What hidden resources make it so valuable? And could it really become the next major battleground for global dominance? Let's break it all down. But first, if you enjoy deep dives into global economies and the hidden forces shaping our world, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Greenland is weird, and I don't just mean the fact that it has more ice than Greenland. With just 57,000 people spread across an area the size of Western Europe, it's basically a giant ghost town. Its largest city, Nuuk, has a population of around 19,000, meaning an entire country has fewer people than most American zip codes. Economically, Greenland isn't much different from a small rural village. The entire country's GDP is just $3.3 billion, making it 9,000 times smaller than the US economy. So if it's this small, why is Greenland such a big deal? Well, you'd think with all that space, Greenland would be an economic powerhouse, right? Well, no, because Greenland has one big problem. It's basically impossible to build a major industry here. There are no highways connecting its towns, winters are brutally harsh, and the population is too small to sustain big industries. Instead, Greenland survives off three things: fishing, Danish subsidies, and a little bit of tourism. Fishing makes up a staggering 90% of Greenland's exports, mostly shrimp and halibut. But that alone isn't enough to sustain a modern economy. So Denmark steps in, sending Greenland an allowance of around $600 million a year, covering almost half of the country's budget. And in return, Greenland remains part of the Kingdom of Denmark. But here's where things get really interesting. Greenland might be poor now, but it's sitting on a gold mine. Literally. Greenland has something that every major economy wants: rare earth minerals. Buried beneath its icy surface are huge deposits of rare earth metals, gold, diamonds, and even oil and natural gas. These materials are essential for modern technology. Everything from smartphones to electric cars to military equipment relies on them. And right now, China controls nearly 90% of the world's rare earth supply. So countries like the US and Europe are desperate for new sources. But getting these resources out of the ground is a logistical nightmare, and that's where things get complicated. Greenland has banned uranium mining, blocking one of its most valuable resources from being exploited. But as global demand for rare minerals skyrockets, pressure is mounting to change that law. In fact, in 2025, there's already talk of repealing this ban, which could open up one of the world's largest rare earth mining projects. And where there are valuable resources, there are powerful countries willing to fight for them. Remember when Donald Trump casually suggested that the US should buy Greenland? Yeah, that actually happened. And while it sounded like a joke, America's interest in Greenland is very real. The US already has a military base there, Thule Air Base, which is now run by the Space Force. Yes, the actual Space Force. It's a crucial radar station, allowing the US to detect missile threats from Russia. But beyond military strategy, the US sees Greenland as an opportunity. Owning Greenland could mean controlling a huge chunk of the Arctic's newly opened shipping routes, thanks to melting ice making the Arctic more navigable than ever. But here's the problem. Greenlanders aren't exactly lining up to become the 51st US state. For now, they're more interested in slow independence from Denmark than becoming a US territory. Still, America isn't giving up. Just recently, US lawmakers held hearings about closer ties with Greenland, and the Pentagon is keeping a close watch on the region. Greenland isn't just caught between Denmark and the US. It's also becoming a battleground for Russian and Chinese influence. Russia has been aggressively expanding its military presence in the Arctic, seeing it as a strategic advantage. Meanwhile, China has declared itself a near-Arctic state, whatever that means, and has been pushing for mining rights in Greenland. So, What happens when multiple global superpowers all want a piece of the same frozen island? Well, it turns into a geopolitical chessboard, and Greenland is the queen. So, what does the future hold for Greenland? Scenario 1. Greenland keeps getting Danish support, slowly expands its economy, and maybe, just maybe, becomes independent one day. Scenario 2. The US finds a way to bring Greenland into its orbit, either economically or politically, securing a new Arctic stronghold. Scenario 3. Mining bans get lifted and Greenland becomes a major supplier of rare earth metals, reshaping the global resource market. Or, who knows, maybe the next US president makes another "let's buy Greenland" offer, and this time Greenlanders actually consider it. Either way, one thing is clear. This tiny economy, which once looked like just an icy village, is sitting at the crossroads of the world's future. So now I have to ask you, should Greenland stay under Denmark, push for independence, or take up the US on its offer? Let me know in the comments below. And if you love this deep dive into global power struggles, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos on world economies. Oh, and before you go, if you love thinking strategically about global politics, check out today's sponsor, Conflicts of Nations. Click the link in the description to get your exclusive rewards and start playing today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.